Okay, now this is lesson 7.6, which is the Jews of Salonika and Auschwitz-Birkenau, including the story of Jackie Handeli from Salonika in Auschwitz, or in Buna, Auschwitz 3. There were 12,000 Salonican Jews who were selected for forced labor, who weren't gassed immediately upon arrival in Auschwitz-Birkenau. Auschwitz number 1 was the main camp, but most of the Jews went to Birkenau. And then those that were selected for labor worked in Birkenau, and those that were gassed mostly were gassed in Birkenau. Later on, a large group of maybe of 2,000 Jews was taken to Auschwitz III, which was the Monowitz IG Farben Buna industrial installations and a concentration camp also. So there were about 2,000 Salonikans there also. So Bauman talked about the arbitrariness of the Jews of Greece and in general in slave labor in Auschwitz. So he wrote, survival in the German concentration camps was a complicated problem for the Greek Jews, ignorant of a hostile reality, totally alien in terms of language, culture, and physical environment. There was cold and snow to what they had known, or which was different to their Mediterranean homeland. So the prisoners couldn't control their own destiny, they couldn't control their work assignments, there was a risk of stratification or a danger factor in various commandos. Here the camp resistance or protexia amongst those with power and influence was extremely important in the rescue of certain individuals or types. Some commandos were designed to kill the prisoner as rapidly and cruelly as possible, especially the Strafkommando. Life expectancy was less than 2 weeks, to which one may be assigned for any infraction of the rules. So those from Salonika were deported in the spring of 1943. Those from the southern part of Greece, or the areas that were Italian that became German, were deported in the spring of 1944. So they would have been in Auschwitz, the latter group, less than a year, or even in the death camps, less than a year or about a year, depending on where they were deported from. So Salonican Jews were in the death and concentration camps 2 years. So for example, then he talks about, on the scale of survival, the deadliest level was that of hard labor, whether to prepare the infrastructure for building or mining, or the useless and sadistic hard labor intended to sap the starving prisoner of the last vestiges of his or her strength. Many of the Außenkommandos, those that worked outside the camp, involved such killing labor. Only a minuscule percentage of those Jews assigned to such work, intellectuals especially, were singled out for such a fate, were able to survive, and usually only through the help of others. And then those that had some skill, let's say if they were shoemakers or seamstresses or painters or carpenters or builders, they would survive because they had easier work commandos. And then there were those who were mechanics or engineers or musicians or prostitutes or boxers. They had an advantage. The boxers also worked in a kitchen. They could get food.
Elie Wiesel, my very good friend, that we were together in the same camp, Auschwitz III, and we became very friendly. He said he was really angry with me because he wrote the introduction to my book, and he said, "You don't write enough the way to take you from Salonika all the way to Auschwitz. What happened? What happened inside of those cars, of those wagons? How was it? There was fighting, people died, the Germans came, and which is true, the Germans used to come, and anyone, They did not even think that they have to take the jewelry. They thought that having the jewelry with them so they can be exchanged for money or for anything that they. To make a long story short, we arrive in a place which is called Oświęcim. We came to the last station, which supposed to be Krakow. Everything that they sold us was Krakow. The Jewish people of Krakow, they are waiting for us to help us. This is why we need also money to exchange the money from Greek drachma to zlotes. How they say in Hebrew, lo dubim velo yar, nothing, absolutely nothing. There is no light. The doors are open. The only light we have is trucks with open lights. There was not such a thing like a station or what we call rampa, where the wagon stays with this kind of a block where people can go and go out. Nothing, absolutely nothing. In between, I was in Poland 36 times. And people thought that I'm nuts because Jewish people in general, especially the Polish Jews, they never believed that we, Jewish people from Salonika, we were in concentration camp. With the number in the army used to say, well, you were also in there. Absolutely no one knew and no one wanted to know that the 96%, I repeat, 96% of the Jewish population of Salonika never came back. From my family, the only one. Now the doors are open and they are shouting all the time, raus, schnell, with the back of the guns, pushing the people to jump. And there is no, as I told you, there is no such a thing. It's quite high. The shouting all the time, and the worst of everything was the dogs. The German wolf dogs. They were ready to kill any Jew. This is where the selection took place. In an empty area. Today, this place is called the Jewish Station. The selection took place. This was the night that I saw the last time in my life my father, my mother, my sisters, and I remained with my two brothers. Why? Because the need of manpower. My brother who got the medal, he was 23. My oldest brother was 25. Then I had three sisters, and I was the youngest one in the family. Now, this night, the selection which took place, they took my father, they took my mother with my sisters, and for a few minutes, my father was together with the men. In other words, my two brothers and I, and one of the SS men came, took him, and threw him together with the older people. This, as I told you, this was the last time I saw my family, except the two brothers. Everything is empty. They took everybody. Those people who were unable to walk, this is why those trucks were there waiting for us. I will never forget there were steps, wooden steps, made specially that they can be easier get into a truck. And so to make them easy to get into truck, there were steps. We remained, my two brothers and I, we remained down. Everybody left. They took them, those who took by truck and those who went by food. And they started to tell us by Dolmetscher. Dolmetscher in German means the translator, who spoke to us in Greek. Some of them, they spoke in Ladino, that we are going to go to another camp called Auschwitz. This, I'm talking about Auschwitz I, the one with the light, with the name Arbeit macht frei. Yes, this is where we got in, 5 in a line, 5, 10, 15, from the day I went to Auschwitz till the day I was liberated in Bergen-Belsen, 5. 5 is the number, because it's very easy to count. 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. So I remained with my two brothers. Auschwitz first, the one where they count us. Number 10, this is not barracks. We're not talking about barracks. We're talking about buildings with 2 floors, with second floor up. This is supposed to be one of them. 10 is where all the women have medical experiments. We, as I remember, we were in block 8. Block, again, is this building with red bricks. My two brothers and I. Now, we are newcomers. The only language we speak is we speak Ladino, which is Spanish, Jewish, and Greek. And the older people, like my brothers, they know also French. The people who told us where we are and what is this place were Jewish people from France and from Belgium. They speak French, and the second language of the Greek Jews in Greece before the war was French. So my two brothers knew French. I had less than 1 year French, but I was young. I could get things quick. 3 important things happened to the Jews of Salonika. Number 1, the weather was against us. I was born 500 meters from the sea. The sun is shining almost all the year around. And here we come, 12, 15 degrees below zero. And we are with a pyjama. I call it a pyjama. I'm sure you've seen in Yad Vashem the kind of a uniform. This kind of a uniform I wear for 2 years. In the beginning, we were 3 together, my 2 brothers and I. The only thing I want to tell you, Samuel, the second brother, the one who got the highest decoration, you know Shimshon Gibor? This was Samuel. He was everything. He was tall, he was beautiful, he was athletic, he everything. And he was the first one to go to be a Muslim. and to be selected to send to crematorium. Now, in the beginning, we don't know. We thought that those people are crazy, telling us that they are burning people. There is a special place called Sonderkommando. We thought those people are absolutely crazy. Slowly, we start to understand that what they told us is true.